Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans, and welcome to the new world, Zimbabwe 2.0, and I'll explain why. Well, it now appears that your honourable members of parliament, including the goons, yep, don't forget the goons, don't forget Malema and Floyd Shivambu, have passed the question about amending the Constitution in Part 25, which means that basically they're suggesting now that they have gone through the process of approving the change to the Constitution, which will allow for the expropriation of land without compensation. And the motion was approved 12 votes to 4, which obviously included the ANC and the EFF as supporting it. The whole process was a joke, and I'll put a link below where you can see why it was a joke. It's completely a complete fraud, but it looks like it's now going to go to Parliament and be passed. So when they start taking people's land and giving it to the Africans on the basis that prior land ownership, okay? Remember that famous comment, prior land ownership? The whites stole the land from the blacks all over the Orange Free State, the Cape, areas like that. That's bullshit. I'll put a link down below from the San lady who talks specifically about her family's history and how the Nguni and Bantu tribes invaded their traditional lands. Not the Nguni and Bantu's traditional lands. KwaZulu-Natal used to be San land. And now you have this complete rewriting of history where the only invaders were the white settlers. What about the friggin' black settlers? They kicked the San and the Khoi off their lands. But it gets worse, and if you look just below, you'll see the video where I've got 107,000 views regarding who actually own land in South Africa. Now, the Nguni and Bantu tribes were only ever east of Lesotho when the white settlers came through. And yes, they did huge damage to the San and the Khoi and saw them, sadly, often as no better than animals, and they just shot them indiscriminately. It was terrible. It was a genocide. But the Africans in KwaZulu-Natal did no different. The point I'm trying to make is that you've got two invading groups, one from the north, which is the blacks, one from the whites, one from the south, which was the whites, and the victim were the Bushman people, the San people, and the Hottentots and the Khoi, or the Khoi. The victims were not the Nguni and Bantu tribes, which evolved into the Zulus and the Xhosa and all these other different African tribes that now are claiming that they were all over South Africa first and the whites came in and stole their land. That's bullshit. Now, the three videos that follow, okay, there's one where an African fellow is already saying that, hey, that's all very well, but we want land title because the way the EFF want it, every 25 years we've got to reapply for that land, and if they got a mate, they can chuck us off and they put someone else there. Now, that's a great way to actually allow a land to be developed. I mean, who's going to put any money into land if after 25 years, which is less than a generation, you can be kicked off that land because Malema's got a mate who wants it? That's one of the videos. The second video is Ramaphosa, offend Ramaphosa, who on the 14th of November was in the European Parliament, and I've chopped out just the relevant extract because he rambles on for hours about the wonders of Mandela and how Mandela really brought the world together and how terrible apartheid was and all this sort of crap. He uses all these little buzzwords, you know, and of course the European Parliament is about 80% empty. There are very few people actually there to listen to him speak. And, you know, the whole point I'm bringing home here is that this whole thing is a farce. And the third video, which is actually an SABC report where they actually show the committee that gets together and discusses whether the amendment to the Constitution should continue. And of course, they decide to do that. So there are three very different videos. But what's interesting about our friend Ramaphosa is that he actually gave his speech about saying it's going to happen. We're going to be expropriating land without compensation a day before the committee decided to approve it. Now, he didn't even suggest that, look, this is before the committee and I can't actually give an answer. He said it's going to happen. And that is very, very unparliamentary. And wrong, quite honestly. Now, remember to be subscribed. Please, please subscribe and to be kept informed. And later today, I'm flying off back to LA, and if I get some footage of these terrible fires that are happening and around LA, I will definitely get what I can and give you some first-hand exclusive coverage. All right, guys, have a lovely day. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. And I'm really sad about what's happening, because this expropriating land, it's falling straight into the Chinese trap, because South Africa's economy is going to collapse and there's no way they'll be able to pay back that debt. Okay, guys, take care. Bye for now.
The public is being misled. Particularly black people must listen to what I'm going to say carefully. The EFF has been saying all land must belong to the state. Land cannot belong to the state and to individual black people at the same time. Including today, Mr. Malema reiterated that they want all land to belong to the state. What we are saying here is that people must have access to land, people, including black people, must own land and also have title deeds. If people are not given title deeds, they have no guarantee the land belongs to them. Now, when you read the EFF's policy on land, they say they will give license to whoever wants land for only 25 years. Now, the shocking thing is that under apartheid, people were given, including me, leasehold of land for 99 years. But now today you have the EFF that says we'll give a license for 25 years. So what we are saying, and what we want our people out there to understand, that they are going to be denied ownership of land if the EFF has its way. And the way they are controlling the ANC is possible. They will have their way. So what we are saying as opposition parties is that we believe all should have access, equal access to land. All South Africans should own land, and they should also have title deeds as proof that the land belongs to them. We do not agree with the deception that we are seeing today, and we want our people to open their eyes to what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Meshwan.
Trade, skills and knowledge, which has worked with us as South Africa in our quest to grow our economy and improve the lives of our people. As we look to the future, we continue to count on the strength of this partnership between our countries and our peoples. As we advance forward to address the many challenges that our country faces, challenges of unemployment, of poverty, and of inequality, We rely on Europe to be our partner. Right now, our country is in the process of transforming and reforming itself. We are seeking to create a South Africa that is conducive for investment flows. A few weeks ago, we held an investment conference that attracted a number of European-based companies to come to South Africa, and we were particularly overjoyed when many of them declared that they will continue to invest in South Africa, and we were able at that conference to raise, and another conference that followed, $26 billion that will flow into South Africa, and we are grateful for the support that we have enjoyed also from Europe for that vote of confidence in our economy. It is this collaboration and partnership that we seek, a collaboration that has bound South Africa and the countries of Europe together in a pact to never again return to the excesses and divisions of the past. As South Africa, we are dealing with a number of issues that have to deal with policies that will consolidate South Africa and make our country more stable. We are in the process of dealing with the question of land reform. Land reform is one of those challenges that our country has had to face over hundreds of years, where the indigenous people of South Africa were denied access to land and have over the years been yearning to have access to land. We are now at a stage where we are engaging in a dialogue, an overarching dialogue amongst the people of South Africa, those who own land and those who don't own land, to see how best this important resource can be utilized to develop our country. And through this, the dialogue is leading us to a point where we are seeking to find solutions that will be inclusive, that will enable all South Africans, as we continue to consolidate our nation, to work together to resolve this problem. We have said very clearly that this problem of land will be resolved through adherence to the rule of law, through adherence to our Constitution, and we will utilize the lessons that Nelson Mandela taught us with regard to resolving problems. We will resolve this problem in an inclusive basis, respecting each other's human rights, respecting each other's hopes and aspirations, and making sure, like we did when we resolved the apartheid problem, that we resolve it with a view to build a nation from the ashes of apartheid. This we shall do because that is what Nelson Mandela taught us. I can assure you that we will resolve the land issue in line with the values that are enshrined in our Constitution, and when we do so, we will have an all-inclusive solution that will make all the people of South Africa work together and move together into the promised future that we see ahead of us. Unity, thank you. Unity and partnership, as well as solidarity, are the principles that have underpinned our cooperation across two vast and different continents. out of dark histories and into a promising new dawn. South Africa, Africa, and the European Union are bound by shared values of democracy and respect for human rights. We share a commitment to the ideals of free and prosperous societies, societies in which all persons live together in harmony with equal opportunities. We owe it to our great forebears, leaders of the caliber of Nelson Mandela, to focus on what unites us and not that which divides.
Well, the stage has been set for another nasty court battle over Parliament's decision to amend the Constitution to expropriate land without compensation. A report that recommends the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution was supported by the ANC and the EFF amid huge outcries from opposition parties, NGOs and academics.
A poison chalice for the national legislature, which has divided the nation arguably more than any other piece of legislation. It transpired from the outset when the EFF and the DA came up with two different proposals that chances for a compromise were nil.
Having taken all the observations made above and all the processes that we have engaged in thus far, the Joint Constitutional Review Committee recommends that, number one, Section 25 of the Constitution must be amended to make explicit that which is implicit in the Constitution with regards to expropriation of land without compensation as a legitimate option for land reform, so as to address the historic wrongs caused by the arbitrary disposition of land.
We do believe that the current constitutional provisions adequately allows for progressive land reform, restitution and the protection of tenure, security and land rights. Successful land reform doesn't require the amending the Constitution. That which is implicit is made explicit by legislation, and therefore we do not propose any amendment to the Constitution.
While the ANC and the EFF agree on the amendment of Section 25, they still differ on its implementation. The ANC wants a mixture of both private and state ownership of land, but the EFF wants none of that.
The EFF position is the state must own the land, all of it, not a mixed land ownership. The state must own the land, all of it. But that is not, I'm saying EFF position. Every time I speak, this ANC chair has got a problem. As if I'm speaking on their behalf. I'm speaking on behalf of the EFF. I must not be confused with the ANC people. Okay. I'm speaking on behalf of the EFF.
Just address
the EFF position is the land must be owned in totality.
After several hours of deliberations, the proposals to amend Section 25 was put on the table. 12 members of the ANC, EFF and the NFP voted for an amendment, while 4 members of the DA and other small opposition parties voted against. The report will now be submitted to both houses of parliament for adoption and implementation. But opposition parties and other stakeholders will now challenge this in court. Manilisi Tubasa, SABC News, Parliament.